Good afternoon and welcome to more Meets the Eye. I'm your host, Blind Prime, and for today we're going to be talking about Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom Dinobot. I got Dinobot back when he first came out. I was going to do him on my show. I was. Um, then I forgot. He got put on a shelf, and things happened. I did other things for the show, and now we're here. My budget's run thin, and I was like, oh, let me go through my collection and see what I have that I haven't really talked about on the show. Because, whenever money gets tight, you got to figure out something, right? I didn't mean for that to rhyme, but that worked out pretty well. So we're going to talk about Dinobot today and bring up his pros and cons in robot mode, and then tomorrow talk about transformation, and then the day after that we'll talk about his actual Dino mode. That's what we do here on Blind Prime. For More Than Meets the Eye, we'll cover we'll just do an overarching review of the individual modes. We review each of them separately so that you, as the viewer, can get the complete understanding of what in the world the product is. And then we have Blindformers, which is dedicated and devoted to teaching verbal instructions on how to transform Transformers. This is Blindformers is the first show on this channel, and it will be going strong so long as I have things to transform. They will always be going to Blindformers eventually. You can check out Blindformers for all of my transformations that I've ever done on this channel. Blindformers playlist is getting big. I mean, it's past the hundreds now, and every one of them videos isn't short. So watch it. Go ahead. If you've got a spare computer in your life, can you turn on that playlist and just let it run in the background? I kind of need some watch time hours. I do need to increase my views, and if you could help me out in that, I mean, it's just a little thing. I wish I could do it here, but YouTube's watching my IP address. They've already tagged my other channels and combined them all together, so I can't pull that trick anymore. I'm locked out. But you, with your IP address that's not my IP address, please, log into my, open up one of my playlists and just play it in the background. Just minimize it and set that computer off to the side. And when that computer's done playing it, just put it on repeat. Do that for me. Do that for Blind Prime. Help me raise awareness for the blind by utilizing spare resources at your own home to put my playlists on in the background. If you own a bar, just put my playlists on in the background and just to mute them, please. I think that would be great if there was just a random blind guy transforming Transformers at a bar. Screw the sports. Have Transformers. Now, let's get into this really unique Transformer. He's got a few parts of him that are really cool, and he's got a few parts of him that kind of suck. So we'll go over it step by step. And first and foremost, we're going to discuss siege ports, because I love my siege ports. So first, we're going to look for siege ports. There's one in each hand. There's also one in the upper arm. Not exactly on the bicep, or not exactly on the shoulder, just below the shoulder, and it's hidden, but it's there. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. He doesn't have any on his head or around the front of his body. He doesn't have, I don't think he's got any on the back of his body either. Nope, none down there, none there, nothing there, not even a hidden little goofy one. So nothing there. You come down here to his lower body, and we get no siege ports, no siege ports, no siege ports all the way down, and then he's got 2 in his feet. So that's 8 siege ports overall for Dinobot. Not a lot of siege ports. Pretty thin on the siege port activity. All right, siege ports done. Let's talk about accessories. He comes with 2, which also are part of his Dino mode, his Raptor mode. So one is this sword. It's stacked polygons. It's the polygonal sword of truth. Yes, the Polysword. Ooh. It's got all these little spinning polygons on top of one another, and its texture is real all right. It feels like I imagined a bunch of polygons that were all spinning would feel. It definitely has that to it. The most unique sword I've ever witnessed in anything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 individual spinning polygons on top of one another to make a sword that I guess you could stab it into people, and then it could just spin and tear them up from the inside out. It's like a drill sword. It's kind of terrifying in a way, because each of these is an individual drill that's spinning in a different direction. So, it's a pretty gruesome weapon. That will rip things to shreds. It's like a vibroblade plus. Okay, and then in his other hand, we've got his shield. Now this shield is a spinning shield in the show. It would spin around in circles. It's pretty all right. They did not give it a spinning ability here, which I think is a missed opportunity. They could have just given us a spinning siege peg, and that would have been really, really cool. But sadly, they did not. The interior of it splits open, and I'm sure it's painted nicely, but it's got some good textures for the inside. They did not skimp out. They actually textured the interior of this as well. You can get your fingers in there, and there is interior texture. Isn't that nice? Now, to store the swords, you can put the sword in this siege port that's inside of the shield. Now, the siege port is a C port. It's a siege C port. Not where you park ships. Now, this piece, the end of the sword handle, has a rectangular peg coming out the side and a tiny siege peg. But sadly, it doesn't work. Things can't hold it by that little siege peg like we got Cliffjumper here. And because of the way it's designed, you'd have to get a piece of sandpaper after it or something in order to get somebody like Cliffjumper to hold this sword. But you can, and Cliffjumper can do this because he's one of the few Transformers with articulated hands in the sense that they rotate. It's weird that they give the non-sword wielding people rotating hands and the sword wielding people non-rotating hands. You can put it sideways in his hand, and then he holds the sword like a gangsta. Yeah, he's a little gangsta holding a little sword. Let's go ahead and remove that sword, and we'll put it in we'll put it here in his shield casing. So you just find that peg, you line that peg up with the hole in the seat, and it sticks in there very nicely. And then each of these ends will close over it to make a raptor tail. And this, of course, being the raptor tail that he will have in his, raptor mode. So that's that for his accessories. They combine together very nicely and then plug into his beast mode and hide very well. I love it when accessories hide. That's a bonus points towards him, that's for sure. Now let's talk articulation, and then we'll get into sculpt work. So articulation-wise, his arms can reach up pretty far. Like, I love how far up his arms can reach. That's really nice. He can hold a shield above his head to stop rocks from falling down on him. That's pretty cool. Sadly, though, because of the way these arms work, there is some terrible, terrible articulation in the interior here. And if you try to move it around too much, you could actually accidentally untransform parts of him, like this, like his crazy little hands for his raptor mode are coming undone. And so that's an issue of getting that articulation. And see his little robot hand popped out. Stupid robot hand. Get in there. Get in there, Get in there, dinosaur hand. You're not supposed to be popping out. Where's the other one? Huh? Where's that other one hiding? It's hiding in the right spot. And get in the right spot. Yeah, that's a good hand. Okay, sorry about that. So he's got some shoulder articulation, allows his shoulders to raise up above a 90, but then he's got this problem with articulating his shoulders very well. Like, they can do it. They do it all right. Isn't that interesting? How one side will do it. Ah, there it goes. Okay, so then that can do it there. There it goes. Okay, you just got to rotate everything around and get the shoulders to move right, but there's just a lot of joints here. We've got the hand joint that rotates, and then the hand claws that open and shut around the hand. We've got a single jointed elbow. We've got a waist. We've got a swivel on the bicep, lower bicep, and then we have an upper bicep swivel, a deltoid swivel, if you will. And there's just a lot that can be going on with this guy. And of course, I love the fact that you can raise his arms so high. That is just exceptional. I love it. Okay, so they are a bit clunky, but you can get these joints around and get some really nice poses in his arms. I do enjoy that. They managed to make it where you can get this guy posing in all sorts of sword battles, and of course they included the swiveling hands to allow for a bunch of just nice little shoots. His head rotates on a ball joint. He can look up slightly, look up all right, but he can only look down so far because of just how everything transforms together. You can crack his head to the left, you can crack his head to the right, and then he can spin it 360 like Poltergeist. Come down here to his waist. His waist has got 360-degree spin. His legs kick up, I'd say 45 degrees. They kick back a bit further. They kick back more than 90. They raise up almost 90. I'd give that 75 degrees of motion there. And then the knees do bend. They are stiff jointed, but they're not double jointed. So very stiff knees. Gotta love those stiff knees. This guy ain't gonna be falling all over the place. Then you come down here to his ankles, and he does have weak ankles. The ankle on his left foot for me is very stiff, but the ankle on his right foot is sort of loose. And finally, there is that foot tilt. You got the ankle tilt action going on. And these feet can slightly do nothing. They do nothing. So that is his feet, and it's kind of annoying how this foot works. It never wants to work with me. He has one foot that's kind of gimpy, and it likes to knock him over. But whenever everything's straightened out and well, it's good. Now, negatives on this guy's articulation would be that there is no thigh swivel, and there's no boot swivel. So getting this guy into a lot of poses when it comes to his lower legs, that's difficult. He does not pose with his lower legs, which is a shame, because it would be nice to be able to get this guy into a good kicking pose. Kind of get him in a kicking pose, but you got to raise that hand out like that. Let's see, can we get him in a kicking pose? Can we get him in a kicking pose? Come on. No, you cannot get this guy in a really good kicking pose. Of course, we bent everything all over the place. Can we do it then? Yeah, there it goes. If you bend everything and all over the place, you can get him in an alright kicking pose. I think that's pretty good. You can balance him on one foot. Look at that. That's a decent balance job too. Let's give it a stress test. Okay, it failed the stress test, but you can get him in a nice kicking pose. Now let's talk about sculpt work and molding. This is really good stuff here. Okay, this guy doesn't. They did not skimp out on the molding and sculpt work for him at all. His head sculpt is excellent. I wish his mouth was open so you could feel all his sharp little teeth, but he's got sort of a smirk going on, so that's acceptable. He's got those nice eyes. He's got this really cool helmet. It comes up to be a little spiky, cat ears going on. Very nice little helmet. Come down here to the front of his chest, and we got a chest that's made up of multiple different parts. I love that stuff. I love me a chest made of multiple different parts. This one's got some of his raptor stuff and his little raptor arms on the sides, and then the head folds down, but these are actually parts of the lower raptor body that are kind of melded in together with the head, and it's just a bunch of various raptor parts that during transformation all come together to create a single chest. And I love it whenever a chest for a transformer is made up of different parts, and it transforms together. I also appreciate it whenever the head disappears during transformation, and this guy does that too. So we'll talk about that tomorrow on the transformation video. But this front of his body has got some excellent sculpt work, and it feels exactly like the old show. I do wish it was a bit thinner so that he wouldn't feel so barrel-chested, but it works out. I believe it does. Coming down here to his arms, we get some really great arm textures, but this is one of the moments where he's lacking, and one of my negatives is he's got some hollow spots on his arms. He's got some waffling, and I don't think this guy deserved any waffling here. Like, seriously, what the hell? Are you going to give him waffling? He doesn't need any waffling. You could have done it without waffling, but oh well. The hands have got some really great articulation to them, at least the thumb moves and the three claws move, so he can grab things. Decent hands. The sculpt work on him is excellent, and that big claw for a raptor is right there, and it's very prevalent. I do think that's cool. Now we come down here to the, we'll spin him around to the back and showcase the backpack. The backpack isn't that big, but it doesn't have a siege port on it. It is a little clunky. It sticks out a bit further than I would like it to, and there's no way to really shrink that down. This is the shrunken down backpack. Though, that's where the weapon stores. So you can put his weapon into his back while he's doing other things, and then it just looks like he's got a long tail sticking out his back. That's something you can do for storage to keep his weapons close to him and on hand. Now we're going to come down here to the thighs, which honestly is my favorite part of this sculpt work, because you've heard it from me multiple times in this channel. I dislike it whenever they just blandly, they don't sculpt the thighs. The thighs are there. You might as well sculpt them. You get things like Cliffjumper here, no sculpted thighs. It's just nothing. And why'd you fall over? But this guy, he's got this nicely sculpted thighs. And then you come down here to his boots, and oh man, his boots are awesome. They are exactly like I remember them in the show. I wonder if they're blue, or if I'm misremembering them being blue. I remember this guy was pretty colorful, and these metallic blue boots are pretty cool. I think they were metallic blue. I may be wrong, but that's how I remember it. And come down here to these boots are the most robotic thing next to his head. They've got these textures of metal, and is smooth and sleek. It feels robotic, and I love it. I like how they managed to do that in this robot. They've managed to accomplish a lot of things with Dinobot, and I have to say, as the Beast Wars characters go, next to the Megatron character, this is one of my favorites. This guy wins it. He's an excellent transformer. The only negatives to him are some of his articulation problems and that waffling. I do wish he had a little more articulation in his legs so you could get him in a few more poses. And I do wish he had some double jointed knees, or at least double jointed elbows. That would have also been nice. But for the most part, this is a very good Dinobot. This is an excellent Dinobot, and I do recommend it for anyone who's collecting the Beast Wars characters. If you don't have this Dinobot in your collection, you may need it. Then again, you could wait until for a new one to come out, because I know the scalpers are probably hitting this guy pretty heavy. I'm actually if things don't work out with budget in the next few weeks, I'm going to end up selling my Dinobot just to afford to keep running this YouTube channel. If money's gotten tight, but we will keep pushing through and coming up with ways to bring you YouTube videos on a budget. But thank you for watching today's video. I hope you've enjoyed the show, and please tune in next Prime, where we will discuss the transformation in the Blindformers episode, and then after that we will discuss his robot mode, his beast mode, the Dinobot mode. So tune in then, and hope you have a wonderful day, and remember, take the time to have some fun. Thank you for watching. Bye bye for now.